There's echoes.
There's echoes.
Sort of like a shadow of a voice. You know, I mean, if you extend that among other things.
You need an echo to be an individual?
Well, an echo becomes a confirmation of an absence and presence because you have to have the void to then have the echo to have the reflection that comes back. And there's that distance.
But in Julian's piece, it's just like the story of echo, you know? Because you have somebody or a few people talking to you saying, I love you, and there's no person behind this.
Well, I think it's interesting just to go back to your question about an image, and is an image different from the voice? But the voice comes out of the body. It's sort of the only thing that's of the body that leaves the body. Someone said that, yeah. And that is, I mean, that's fascinating. So to me, that, well then, does it carry something molecularly of the body in it that gets transmitted when it's heard?
Well, in mythology, echo was part of the Narcissus story. And Narcissus was, of course, in love with one's own reflection, so, you know, it fits. It all fits.
But that idea of it coming back to you, though, you know, seeing your reflection or hearing your reflection, whether it's your voice or your image, is that goes back to what you're saying. I guess I'm just agreeing. But that seems to me that that's something different than even what your piece is about, because these disembodied voices might conjure a memory or a personal experience. Right, in which you were talking about in terms of her piece, you're going to experience it differently depending where you are in relationship to love oneself. You know, and it's, so that idea of memory then defining the moment that we close the box when it becomes too much, and the action of closing the box is my response to it, right? And I don't know, I think that's different than that idea of echo. Does that make sense? Because the echo is reflection of myself. My action is.
Right.
Why was there an option in terms of opening the box or just walking by? You know, I mean, it wasn't clear that the box was to be opened or touched, right?
Right, and when I displayed it, here it has a sign that says open it, but when I displayed it in the gallery, I didn't want a sign. I mean, here, I'm glad there's a sign. It's fine that there's a sign. But I wanted this sense of transgression. If you open it, then you have you're opening it within the environment of potential transgression. And also crossing, I'm always interested in artwork of crossing the boundary between object and viewer, and making the object not just a visual experience, but a body experience. Or a psychological experience.
So the voice doesn't just leave the body, it should touch another body?
Well, it does, and it can.
What would you say?
You were talking in general, right?
I'm talking in general, yeah. But certainly the meaning of the phrase, the repeated phrase, I love you, I love you, I love you, is very important in the piece. How would you judge in general the meaning of the voice in comparison to its uniqueness, its non-meaning part, its sound, its melody, its speech?
Well, I think those two can be sometimes opposed to each other. That the words are actually too familiar. The words are cliche. And then the melody, the pitch is what gives the words possibly the definition. And I think that's true of sound in general. I mean, and that's why it's such a distinctive medium, because there's the meaning of what's said, but then there's how it's said and who says it.
Does this still exist with your parents? You know,
meaning.
The uniqueness of the voice.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, the interesting thing with the parrots is when I was first working with the piece, I had all these people helping me, and one of the people helping me was a sound engineer, and he brought all of his students over to see the piece because he said, these parrots are the first recording device. And I thought that was really interesting, and I've always thought of that, and especially because these guys have learned my laugh, which is really disturbing. Perfectly. And so there is, but when I was training them, I actually thought of that too, and I had a lot of different people helping me train them so they wouldn't just learn my voice and wouldn't just, sound like lots of Rachels around. One's enough. So, but they got the laugh. But so yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing because they are, I don't know, when I first started the project, I thought birds just mimic, but they don't. The way that these birds learn was through a kind of cognitive process, so they do know what the words mean that they've learned. So, you tell me, they have, and they do what they want with the words. They express the words in the way they want, and that was important to me, that they just integrate these words into their own speech patterns, sound patterns. So they do lots of bird screeching noises, chatters, and then every once in a while a my puri word comes out. And they have their own, they say it in ways I never could. And they work the words and distort the words. And so sure, they're being expressive, quite expressive.